Thank y'all for tapping in with y'all boy again. Man, I just seen something last night that was dope as hell. I watched this sister and this brother have a debate. The sister's name was Sister Jenkins. Shout out to her. She was the coldest. The brother's name was Wisdom. And the conversation was about religion, which is the reason for this whole little bill. I feel like nowadays, a lot of these religious people, right? Nothing wrong with what y'all doing. Let's make that absolutely clear. But the doctrine got to be cleaned up a whole lot to make it more pliable to the people that you're dealing with. So, I'm going to get into the top of the discussion at hand that went on last night. I had to elaborate on it because it was so dope, right? But the brother, I'm going to call him a god because I identify with these men and women as gods and goddesses, especially when they get to breaking down stuff on a level that's that, you feel me? But so the brother I tuned in when the brother hit the sister with a scripture. So the sister challenged him on it. Now it was obvious that the sister know what she know. I ain't saying she an atheist or none of that type of shit because she cold, she knows some shit. Just like the brother did. But the brother was trying to bring it from strictly a scriptural perspective and trying to force her to just accept some stuff on his technical, on his terms or whatever. But the sister broke down to him like, nigga, you wasn't there, nigga. Prove to me that this shit exists. And he couldn't. And that was one of the coldest things that went on. So she said, she breaking shit down to him like, nigga, you talking about these people that wasn't there. And I ain't gonna go into detail to what was said because this gonna offend people if I get to break it down. But she was like, listen, these people was dead. So how they tell the story? The person that posted the murder was dead, so how you tell the story? So the brother just kept on trying to hit him with scripts. And I tried to chime in and to break it down to the brother. Like, listen, the reason why, you know what I'm saying, this stuff don't make sense in an everyday content because it was spoken in terms of mythology. Now, most people, when they hear the term mythology, the first thing that comes to their mind is a myth is a lie. But that ain't the proper content in which the term mythology was used in. The term the mythology was used in and the way that it was used back in the days, it was basically a method to convey a message. They used an intangible substance to explain a tangible reality. So the brother hit her with the script, trying to prove his point, saying that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among men. Now I chopped the scripture up, but don't hate me for it. So the brother said something, so I asked to chime in. So I'm explaining like, listen, man, in a literal sense, you know what I'm saying? And the way people be trying to make it fit, it don't make sense to a person. You know what I'm saying? But I was trying to explain to him that was explaining the creative spark of existence. You know what I'm saying? So the dude chopped me up or whatever, right? He trying to cut at me. I couldn't even talk to the brother because the brother was so in depth. But let's never mind that conversation. What I mean by bringing these words to the forefront is this, man. If you can't make these things applicable, you know what I'm saying, applicable to these brothers and sisters' lives, then you're gonna miss these brothers, because these little brothers and sisters out here right now, these young guys and goddesses right now, they ain't accepted something that you can't prove to them that you can live by. So if you telling me in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among men, you better be able to explain what the fuck you talking about. Because if you can't, guess what? You're gonna miss these little brothers. You're gonna miss these gods and these goddesses. So you're gonna miss the ability to plant these seeds. Now, when you ask me that, and they ask me that, I tell them that they make the Word become flesh every single day. And when they ask me how, I ask them, close your eyes. Just like I'm asking y'all that's viewing this, close your eyes for a second, real tight. You see your blackness, don't you? That's your beginnings. Now think about something. You're going to see an image, you know what I'm saying, associated with it. You're going to see how the image is supposed to move, you know what I'm saying, and that's it becoming flesh. You feel me? The first thought, the first spark, it became flesh. Now, once you do that, you translate that into the verbal words, or you take something, you put it into and mold it into an image. Now it became flesh and it dwells among man. You know what I'm saying? But now a young person can hear that and be like, damn, that shit deep. So now he could be like, okay, I can get into the mind of how creation was made, because from this divine spark or this divine consciousness, you know what I'm saying, from this blank slate of existence, you know what I'm saying, when we look in the skies and we see everything is based upon this black matter and all these things hanging in this black matter, I can understand how, potentially, how this shit came into existence. Because I do it every day. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing like when people talking about, Jesus was talking about walking on water, right? If you can't make that applicable, a little baby and say, okay, the Bible said Jesus told Paul to walk on water. I'm about to go out here and walk on water. And this little baby go out here and drown. Again, we talking about mythical times again. So, if I'm dealing with a baby, I'm telling the baby flat out, okay, on the walking on water tip, your body is made of 75 to 80% water. What does water do? It enhances energy. You know what I'm saying? When the water enhances energy, it makes it more potent, more stronger, the force behind it. So we translate that energy to emotion, which is a form of energy, with a spirit of awareness inside of that emotion. You know what I'm saying? A spirit of information impregnated into that energy or that emotional field. Now we know that we're talking about drowning in the water if I can't control that water. So if I don't know how to control my emotions, you see what I'm saying, which is enhanced by the fluids of my body, you see what I'm saying, I can't walk on it. I'm going to drown in it. And I'm going to end up in some harsh shit. But when I learn how to control my emotions, condition myself, I begin to walk on top of those waters, telling those waters, peace be still. You see what I'm saying? But again, we have to get to the point where we can break this shit down to these people out here and these gods and goddesses out here, because they ain't trying to hear just know any old thing. You can't make them people believe in the cartoon no more. A lot of time people present religion or these scriptures as if it's spook. It ain't nothing spook about it when you know how to explain it, when you know how to break it down. Again, mythical terms. These people are speaking in these books in initiates language. And if you ain't initiated into their culture, you know what I'm saying, you are not going to understand what the fuck going on. Same thing with the Hindu text, the Bhagavad Gita. I might have fucked that up, but don't blame me for that. They talk about Arjuna. When Arjuna was supposed to go to war, when Lord Krishna was telling him to go to war, and every time he had a method when he go to war on his enemies, and he'd look over the motherfucking hill and he'd see all they camp, all they dwells where they was at, and understand and study them and know how to move and attack them. But this time when he was dealing with Lord Krishna, he told him to go look over the hill, and he saw all his motherfucking people, his mama, his daddy, sisters, brothers, teachers, aunties, uncles, all these different things. These people that gave him the game that he got. Everything that they gave him made him who he was. And it said you got to go kill them. So it was a struggle with that. So now if you're looking at the scripture in bare text, you're going to think that, damn, in order for me to become a servant of Lord Krishna, I got to go kill all my family. Literally, no. That means that game that they gave you, that information they gave you, that stuff that made you who you are, that hardened you, and all the little cleverness and slick stuff, that stuff got to be done away with. You got to empty your cup in order to get something new so you can move in these divine principles. You feel what I'm saying? But these are the things that we up against, man. And we supposed to be building on a level where a kid can understand this shit. And if we not, we missing the mark. I sat down with this dude while I was in prison. I did 20 years in prison. I sat down with some giants. You know what I'm saying? These guys in prison, they wasn't to be played with. And they was from all walks of life. I'm talking about every type of religion, spiritual culture, whatever you call it. These guys on that for real. And they can sit down with any scholar and intellectually fuck your whole head up. But anyway, the man told me, he say, we was dealing with Christianity. Specifically, we was dealing with Hebrewism. And dude was saying that from his studies, he discovered that the word sin meant to miss the mark, right? So he showed and proved it with the word, you know what I'm saying, that he had, you know what I'm saying? But that's cool. But if we accept that as sin, then we know that if you building with a brother and you supposed to be the one that's in tune, right? And you ain't listening to the brother, because like the sister did, it was quite, she was in tune with some shit, for sure. She was on point like New Tim, and listen, it ain't no doubt in my mind that she wasn't spiritual, but she was a busting dude down so much to show him that, dude, you gotta come harder than that, bro. You gotta come better than that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? When we building with these young guys and goddesses, man, literally, man, we gotta be on point. Because they ain't trying to hear that shit. They can Google this shit. They can Google a religious text to go older than the text that we reading. You know what I'm saying? They can recognize. They know how to get to the heart of this shit. So you gotta be on point, dog. We gotta be on point, dog. I'm talking about this ain't, you can't just go out there and say, hey man, you know, any, mini, mighty, mo. Look, you believe it? They're gonna be like, what? Believe what? You see what I'm saying? We talking about truth here, man. We got to understand this one thing when we building with the people is this, man. Everything based off of truism and promises. What I mean by that? If I promise you that you can do something, right? And I'm saying it's the truth, right? I can't prove this is the truth unless I can show you that I live bad. And this is the reason we lose most people that call themselves consciousness and the people that ain't. And I'm going to show you. Let's give an example of a conscious guy approaching a youngster and a guy from the hood. He's a trapper. You feel me? The conscious guy say, hey, you little young blood, hey, why don't you go get you a job, get off the streets, man. These, you know, these streets ain't nothing, man. You don't ever join this street stuff, man. They out there, they wilding out, they doing this and that. So the little youngster say, okay, I feel you. I'm about to go get me a job. He applied for 5 applications and got no response. None of them wanted to hire him. He got fired before he got hired. Well, dude on the block say, hey, listen, youngster, come over here with me. I'm going to give you this sack. All you got to do is just take this shit out this little bag right here and give it to dude and them that come up to this motherfucking door. And off every sack you flip that I give you, you're going to make 30 off 100. And at the end of the day, you're going to have $500 in your pocket. Okay, let's say that the little guy didn't get $500. The little guy got $200. What just happened between them two scenarios, right? Both of them gave a promise. Both of them gave a truth. But guess what? The immediate response from the drug dealer and him giving him that sack and that little homie making that $200, $300 real quick, you know what I'm saying, showed that he can live by those principles. So when the little motherfucker step off the porch and the motherfucker show him that he can move by these principles, he just established the truth. He established the truth. Because why do I know it's true? Because I can live this shit. I can go out and apply these principles and make the same exact shit that the dude explains to me happen. The other guy couldn't. Because I filled out 5 applications and ain't nobody give me a motherfucking job. Now we talking about the truth. That's a promise. He made a promise and he showed that it was truth. He made it manifest in the dude's life. So now it's easy for a youngster to be like, hey, listen, I'm over here trapping with dude in them. You feel me? Oh, yeah. The same thing goes on when the guy talking about, oh, y'all on the streets doing this and that. Y'all need to slow down and do this and that. But guess what? When I'm slowing down from doing this and that, right? You ain't putting no food in my stomach, homie. You feel me? You told me all this type of shit and you shunned me too. That's another thing, you gotta stop doing that shit. Stop stepping on these youngsters, man. You know what I'm saying? Dang, you ain't gonna get nobody by stepping on nobody, man. Stop stepping on these youngsters, man. You telling them that they fucked up the neighborhood when they inherited this shit from the elders, bro. We played a part in it. I did 20 years for fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Even though the event that led me to incarceration, you know what I'm saying, was a little different, but I fucked up the neighborhood. You feel me? So I'd be a hypocrite to tell a youngster that grew up in an environment that I left for them that they fucked it up. So when these youngsters jump off the porch, you can't fault them for some shit that they don't know. You can't force them for some shit that they ain't been introduced to. You got to introduce them to the shit that you telling them about. If not, shut the fuck up. Because if you talking about your kids, man, and you ain't giving them nothing to bounce back on when they hit these streets, reliable type of resources and information, bro, you ain't preparing them for that shit. So guess what's gonna happen? The trapper, he preparing them for that shit. You ain't prepared them. You dogging your kids out and treating them like they ain't shit. So guess what? You supposed to be fam So they gonna go out there and do some trauma bonding. And they're gonna find some motherfucking wounded ass kids that's just like them, that understand them, that's gonna validate what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? None of them really know the true game, but they gonna figure this shit out. And they gonna figure out something. And once they figure out something, they gonna move off that something. Not depend on who get a hold to them. You feel me? But you can't fault them for not knowing some shit. If you know this shit and they don't know this shit, then you supposed to be building with them on that shit, man. And if you don't build with them on that shit, then you can't say nothing when somebody else build with them on some other shit. And when that other shit don't look like the shit that you wanted them to be in, or the shit that you know that they could have been prosperous in, then it's your fault. You supposed to game the game. You let your kids run the streets, they gonna get street shit. When you put them in an environment to win, they gonna do winning shit. You see what I'm saying? You got 3 preservations, God. Self-preservation, tribal preservation, and community preservation. What I mean by that? Everybody know about the first one, self-preservation. I gotta do whatever I gotta do to preserve me. I gotta get mine. You feel me? Tribal community, tribal preservation. That means that, because no man is an island, I need help. I need aiders. I need assistance. So I gotta build a team. That become my family and my extended family, which is my friends. And then community preservation. That means that I had to make sure that the environment that I do whatever I do in, that I live in, sleep in, do business in, you know what I'm saying, grind in, all this type of stuff, it had to be conducive. It had to be fitting to the things that I need to do to survive in this environment. It had to produce, I had to produce the grounds for me to till in order to get success out of life. My environment had to be an environment that I can do that in. But most people ain't trying to get the youngsters that game. They need that. You feel me? But we gonna build on that. And I ain't gonna hold y'all up too long, because I know most people attention span ain't long enough to keep up with a motherfucking guy like me, you feel me? Because I can go on for days. So with that, I'm gonna leave y'all as I came, man, in peace. One love, many lives, one nation, one struggle. Shout out to the gods and goddesses. Holla if you hear me, man.